Well, today's adventure is another low-level walk, and today you find us in New Lanark, and we're heading today round the Falls of Clyde walking circuit. Well, good morning and welcome along to the channel. Today I'm suffering a bit of a chest infection. I have been since heading up into the mountains at the Ben Lawyers range for that overnight camp. So today we're doing a low-level walk while my lungs recover, and we're in New Lanark, the beautiful village in New Lanark, and we're going to be heading round a short, I think it's 6.5 miles, loop round the Falls of Clyde. It takes you right along the side of the River Clyde, and yeah, there's plenty to see as we go round. Shouldn't take us too long. We're hoping to be back in Falcon by 2 o'clock, and it's currently, what's that, 9:30. So yeah, this should be a stunning wee walk, and join us for today's little mini adventure. So this is my second time in New Lanark. It's reputed to be the birthplace of the NHS in the UK as we know it. The man who ran this place taxed a little bit of money from every worker in the place, and they had a doctor on site, and it became the blueprint for what we now know as the current NHS. It's also harnessing the power of the water, and behind us here we see a sluice that takes you along, and hydropower is what would have powered the lighting for the whole area. It's quite a special wee place. If you've never been to New Lanark, it's definitely worth a visit. But we're more concentrating on the path that takes you in a loop up along the side of the River Clyde, and round the other side we're going to be heading up towards the Corra Linn, which we'll tell you a bit more when we get up to there. But yeah, in the meantime I'm going to spin you around and let you see some of the views in New Lanark. The buildings are stunning here. New Lanark. Well, we've had a lot of rain over the last few days, and even coming down this close to the River Clyde, the spray coming off. I haven't experienced spray coming off of Waterfalls since being at Niagara Falls in Canada. But yeah, there's some volume of water pouring down the Clyde at the minute. Obviously the river's emptying into the Clyde after that heavy rain we've had the last few days. But yeah, the water is churning here. So just as you come out in New Lanark, you have the Dundaff Linn, which sits down beside the river now. There's lots of signs up here saying no swimming, and doing a little bit of research before I came to do this last night, I noticed, I think it's Alistair from the Highland Hikers had said that lots of people have drowned in this river. So there's lots of signs saying don't go in there, and I think if you can see behind me, for good reason. I talk to children about having an exit strategy, and I don't think there is an exit strategy out of this river. If you fall in, you're pretty much, you're going wherever the river's going to take you. But yeah, stay out of the river. Beautiful to look at, but let's not for going in swimming. So the first part of the walk is going to take you through these beautiful woodlands right along the side of the River Clyde. It's going to be pretty much beside us the whole way around today. There's nothing but the roar of the river beside you and the sound of the birds up in the trees. Weirdly, even although you've got a river roaring beside you, it's quite a calming wee spot. Yeah, this is going to be a good walk, I think. So as you walk along the boardwalk, and there is a sign back there saying if it's flooded, then don't go along it. They do say common sense is becoming less and less common. If it's flooded, don't come along here. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to come along here if it's flooded. So, but as you come along that boardwalk, there's lots of wee signs telling you about the local flowers and fauna. As you travel along, we're already noticing, you know, a lot of the flowers are coming into bloom. And yeah, it's quite a picturesque wee forest. Now that we're heading away from those falls back there, it is starting to get a little bit quieter now. Now, as you begin the walk, there's a Fall for Nature in New Lanark brochure that you can pick up. It gives you a little bit of information and gives you the map for the walk that we're doing today. Nice to have just a little bit of information, and that's good that they provide that. So yeah, thank you, the Scottish Wildlife Trust. Yeah, this is definitely what my lungs needed today. Something that wasn't climbing up a Munro, because my chest has been rattling the last few days. The plan was to go initially to the fort at Glenloyne. There was no way I was able to do that. And then the plan was changed to the single one at Benglass Farm. I think it's Benchabar, I think is how you pronounce it. But no. So today Ryan, Emma and I have jumped in the car, headed to New Lanark, and we're on this relatively flat, little low-level walk. So not a Munro, but a beautiful walk all the same. That's pretty cool. I didn't know they had otters here, but yeah. Never seen an otter in the wild yet. We did hope to see them out on Arran, but yeah, we didn't see any sea otters. But yeah, there's if you're quiet and you don't have noisy children with you, you might even see some otters on this wee trip. So I don't know if you'll make it out in the video, but yeah, I'm just saying to Ryan, it looks like there's a fire-breathing dragon around the corner here. There's spray spewing out, which I can only imagine must be the Corra Linn just round the corner. And somewhere down there, I think, is Wallace's cave from the photos that I've seen before. But we'll maybe be able to see it from there's a viewpoint just in the middle of the screen there. Hopefully we'll be able to see it on the other side of the river. So with the Corra Linn in the background here, there's a few stories about how it got its name, how the name came about. One was that back 200 years before William Wallace, and Wallace's caves down there somewhere, Malcolm II's daughter Corra had been out on a hunting party and had been separated in the woods near here. And a young man had taken a fancy to her and tried to abduct her, tried to grab her. And she rode off on her horse. And the story goes that she went over the cliff at the top and down into the falls below, and then was named the Corra Linn after Malcolm II's daughter. I quite like that story. The alternative story is that I think it's Cruachan or Cruach is the Scots Gaelic for marshy ground, and it's the marshy ground Linn. I think that's a bit more than marshy, and I quite like the story of it being named after Malcolm II's daughter Corra. Take of that what you wish. I'm sure there's historians out there who will correct me and give us the real reason why the Corra Linn on the Clyde River is called the Corra Linn. But yeah, there's a lot of water going over there just now. Normally the right side of the falls doesn't have any water going over it at all. There's plenty piling over there today, and it's roaring. But we've headed up the hill a wee bit, and we're now back into the almost calm serenity of the woods again. I was just reading in the wee booklet here that the walk up to the falls is only 2.5 kilometres long, so it's only a 5 kilometre walk there and back. So if you're coming up just to see the falls, then yes, it's not going to be too bad a walk. Just reached another viewing point of the Corra Linn. In case of emergencies, call 999. Yeah, we're not going into for a swim, so we won't need to use the 999 number. But yeah, we're walking on past the main viewing points for the Corra Linn and heading right up until we get to the dam at the top and then across. But, I'm going to head down, see if I can spot Wallace's cave. Wallace had done something. He'd been annoying the English, again, as usual, and had to flee. And story goes, a bit like Rob Roy, if you've ever been on the West Highland Way along the side of Loch Lomond, there's Rob Roy's cave. He had to hide out from, I'm sure it was the English again. William Wallace used a cave just down in this gorge to hide out again from the English after doing something he shouldn't have done. Wow, a lot of water piling over here. Now I'm not sure if you'll pick this up on the camera, but just through the branches there is what I think is Corra Castle, which we're going to see on the other side a bit clearer. I was just saying to Ryan that, you know, putting a castle on the side of a river, great for defence in one sense, that you have nobody attacking you from that Corra Linn down the bottom there. But on the other side, you certainly would be able to sneak up on that castle dead easy. The noise coming off that river, there's no way you would hear anyone coming. You could march 100 soldiers in and probably nobody in the castle's going to hear you coming. But yeah, I don't know what the castle was used for, but it was more a stately home than it was a fortified place for soldiers to live. I don't know. Anyway, history of it's quite interesting. Oh, it's amazing how quick. We've only walked 100 yards away from the falls there, and already we're hearing the birds again. And bluebells. The bluebells are out. You know, one thing that's amazing me as I walk along this this riverside path is these massive trees perched right on the edge that are literally hanging on by their fingernails onto the edge of the cliff face. You know, a lot of the walks I do, you see a lot of the devastation that recent storms have caused in woodland, and you wonder, how's that big pine tree managing to hang on to the side of that cliff face and not just getting blown over? It must have massive roots running into the hillside to stop it falling in, but there's trees like that dotted all the way along this path. Strong roots, strong tree, I guess. So this ahead of us is the Bonnington Linn. The river seems to just be a wee series of linns all the way up, and you might not be able to see right in the centre of the picture there, but the water is piling over the top up there. It's obviously a lot narrower than it is further down here. So that massive volume of water is having to make its way down through a narrow grap, and oh my goodness, it's raging. Well, I've just looked up the definition of a linn in Scotland, and it means a deep ravine. Now, it's worth noting, if you're bringing young kids up to do this walk, there are a lot of bits where there is no fence at the side, and it's a steep drop down into a very dangerous river, so it's worth keeping your wee ones either on reins or keep a hold of their hand as you come along here. But yeah, a ravine. A linn steep ravine. So this bridge leads you across to this little island that sits in the middle of the river here, and this current bridge that we see here was to replace an old wooden one that was there in the 19th century, and there was a ducat on here for keeping your pigeons in, which would have been part of the staple diet back then, but that has fallen to ruin, and you can't actually see it, and I'm certainly not crossing over that bridge to go and investigate it. But yeah, this is where the river splits, and this little bridge would have taken you over. I don't know if the camera will have picked that up there, but the midges are certainly out today. We're well into midge season now. On the next video I do, I'm going to review something that I purchased recently, hopefully to combat the little bitey horrors. That appears to be some sort of automated crane that clears the debris out from the dam gates. That's quite cool to see. So that claw is going to go down, scoop out any debris that's clogging up the grating there. See if it's got anything. No, coming up empty-handed. So these big counterbalances, I don't know if you can hear me over the river, the big counterbalances we have here that are made by Ransoms and Rapier Limited in Ipswich in 1925, they can lift up, which then lowers the dam down, which allows all this water to go ploughing through here. The other ones at the minute, as you can see, are in the kind of lowered position. So that means the dam on the other side's raised up. But look at the amount of water it's allowing to plough through this side of the dam. Industrial engineering at its finest, I guess. So at that Drax power station there, you reach this point which says no return access to New Lanark in this direction, next crossing 3.5 miles downriver. Now the whole walk is just under 6.5, I think it's 6.2 miles. So if you didn't want to do the entire walk, then that's your point to be turning round and heading back down to the car park. But we're looking to do the whole circular route today, so we're going to take in that 3.5 miles. It's going to take us past the World Heritage Site at New Lanark. So we're now on the other side of the river, looking over to where that iron bridge would have taken you over to that island in the centre there. And that's where the ducat would have been. Now, I would like to have taken the drone down into that, but back at the Corra Linn, I took the drone over and there was so much water coming down. The trees are actually bouncing to the side, so it was the massive updrafts from the amount of water piling down through this ravine meant the drone was wobbling all over the place, and if it was to fall out of the sky down in there, yeah, that's the last drone footage you'll be getting from me until at some point I replace my Mavic Mini. But yeah, the waterfalls, if you're a waterfall person, this is a walk and a half to come and do. So many. If you're doing it after a rainy spell like we're doing, you'll be treated to an absolute display from Mother Nature of the raw power that water has in massive volumes. So we're now high above the ravine here on the opposite shore now. And thankfully they've got actually a fence up now for some of the sections again. As I said on the other side, if you're bringing young kids here, maybe keep a hold of them. If you're bringing older kids, tell them to behave. This is not a place for messing about. Beautiful to come and see, but yeah, you just need to take a wee bit of care if you're bringing kids up here. Oh, and already 100 yards down the hill again. And the thickness of the trees muffles out the sound of that raging torrent that we've just passed up there. And we're back hearing the bird sound, back in the woodland. Something I have been noticing is the diverse range of trees we have in this woodland here. There's obviously a lot of young trees, but there's the big old pine trees, and there's new oak and elm and ash and silver birch. I'm just seeing a small one here. Yeah, so yeah, everything you need for a cool wee ecosystem alongside the stunning River Clyde. That rhymes. I'm a poet and I don't even know it. Right, we'll head a wee bit further down and let you see, hopefully, Wallace's cave from the opposite shore. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. There are photographs online of where the cave is. We couldn't see it from the side we were on, but hopefully you'll be able to see it from this side. Who knows? So when we were over the other side of the river, we had noticed there was I don't know if we can see it from here. There's a camera down at the viewpoint down there, pointing over in this direction. And down on the cliffs below us here, there are nesting peregrine falcons. So this is Operation Peregrine here, where the camera is keeping an eye on these beautiful raptors, beautiful birds of prey, in order to protect their eggs, because people, I'm saying people, they're lower than people, like to steal things like peregrine eggs. So that's cool that they're being protected, and they would nest down on the cliff face to rear their young. So yeah, there's another cool wee thing to look out for. We didn't actually look for the peregrine nest on the cliff face because we didn't really know about it until we got round to this side. But that's something to look out for. When you see the camera pointing down towards the other side, if you go into the OS Maps or even Google Maps, I think it has something about Operation Peregrine on there. When you get to that point, have a look at the cliff face. Take a pair of binoculars if you've got them and have a look and see if you can spot the peregrines on their nest down there. This woodland is absolutely alive with sound of birds. I'm hoping to see a red squirrel, to be honest. I've only seen a few in my lifetime, but hopefully going to see another one maybe today. Although I don't know if the red squirrels are in this area. Perfect woodland if there was. Now it is just worth noting that the path's not bad round this side, but it's not quite to the same standard as the path on the other side, which is looked after by the National Reserve. And you do come across some mucky bits like this. So if you're doing the whole walk right the way round, you know, wellies for the kids, Well, hiking boots might not be a bad shout in order to keep your feet dry and clean. But yeah, not a bad wee path. You really are spoilt on this walk in terms of the views that you get. Every now and again you get a wee glimpse through the trees of something spectacular. Yeah, I love a waterfall, so it's such a beautiful place, this. So there's definitely a sense of history about this place. You've got these old ruined buildings and walls, kind of harken back to a bygone era where this place would have been a hub for industry, and there would have been loads more people up in this area. And it's now all very quiet. Oh, I think this might be, yes, we have. This is the Corra Castle that I was telling you about that we could just about see from the other side. There's not a lot of it left, and it's well hidden in amongst these dense trees, but yeah, I'll do a wee bit more digging and see if I can get more of the history on this and tell you a bit more about it on the way down. So this is kind of what remains of Corra Castle. I'm almost certain that's not the original door that's here. But, let's see if we can fit you in through here. Have a look. It's got this wee moat that runs along the back of it. That would have been the entrance in, across this wee wall here. Sadly, due to the crumbling nature of the castle, you're not able to go in and have a look. But yeah, another wee historical thing to come and have a look at, walking up round the Falls of Clyde circular. Well, a bit like Niagara Falls. It's nothing like Niagara Falls, but similar to Niagara Falls, you can actually feel the spray of the water coming up and hitting you at this viewing point. Yet another gratuitous shot of a waterfall. So this tree's split so that you can actually see right into the middle of the tree. We hadn't seen many trees down, but now we're seeing a lot on this side. Obviously, prevailing wind must be coming from up the hill there. Somebody's beautiful old house up on the top here. It did say private path from the house, so this must be the house that we're on about. So we'll not head up there and disturb the people who live in that house. But yeah, stunning. Someone who knows better than me will probably point out that that's not what I think it is, which is, it looks like wild rhubarb to me. Yeah, tons of it just growing there. So we're now on the opposite side of the river from that initial walkway that we went along. Poor Ryan and Emma keep getting way ahead of me. This is a videographer, a photographer's dream, this place. There's so many things that you could take pictures of and things that you want to stop and look at. Yeah, if you've got a digital camera, bring it along with you. There's so many shots that you could get. that are just, you know, idyllic, beautiful, ferocious. This walk's got everything. And poor Ryan and Emma are having to put up with me stopping every 2 seconds to film another shot. Here's a big patch of, well, they look like bluebells, but they're way off the ground. Well, the horseflies seem to certainly be enjoying them. Don't want to get bitten off of them. They give you horrible big welts. It's weird. I've been looking for little camping spots that I could maybe stick a tent in down here. Haven't seen anything so far. The place is so overgrown with ferns and flowers, ivy, jaggy nettles. It's just a carpet of life in here. And there's no wee patches of grass that you could stick a tent on, so it's not really a place where you come and camp for the night. Although I'm sure if you looked hard enough you'd be able to find something. There's a cool wee birdhouse. So just as you're walking down along past the back of these houses at this part of the walk, they have all gone to absolute town to make their back gardens beautiful, looking out onto this woodland and down at the river. And if you had this in your back doorstep, why wouldn't you? Yeah, I like that wee bird box. It was made up to look like a wee post box. I'm sure the wildlife appreciate it too. Yeah, mind your head. Aye, there's Scottish humour everywhere. Mind your head. Well, I must have been doing a fair bit of filming today. One battery on the GoPro normally lasted me a whole day in the West Highland Way. And we've only been out for, what, a couple of hours and I've already almost used up this battery. Maybe this video is going to be longer than I thought it was going to be. So we're just about to head over the bridge and start heading back up towards New Lanark. Yeah, welcome back to civilization. So as circular walks go, it's not too bad. And this end's maybe not quite as spectacular nor picturesque as the top end of the walk. But I would still say it's worth doing. Yeah, we're going to be heading now back onto the other shore and back along towards New Lanark. So yeah, we're not far away from the car now, maybe about a mile. So when you get to this wee fence that's it's got CCTV and dogs, you do go down through it. The lovely wee lady that lives in the house was like, oh, you're down this way, pointing us in the right direction. So yeah, when you get to that part, just go through there's a fence that says, you know, CCTV and beware of the dogs. Just go through the gate and head down the hill. Just don't hang about because it's somebody's backyard, obviously. Some more wee beautiful houses at the top there, and thank you to that lady for pointing us in the right direction. We would have been away up onto the main road if we hadn't seen her, so that's been useful. So in this bit of the walk there are 1 or 2 gates you need to manoeuvre through. I'm guessing it must be the boundary between the different landowners' bits of land as you travel along through what is obviously residential bits. So yeah, that's just something to watch out for. So as we head along back towards New Lanark, you'll go through this beautifully kept, leafy little village. The houses are stunning along here. Wee cottages with plenty of space for gardens, and they all seem to be well kept. It's nice. So not far to go. We're about 200 yards before we head back down the hill, I think. Or is it up the hill?
Down the hill.
Down the hill. Down the hill and then back along to New Lanark, and the battery's almost done in the GoPro. Let's see if we can make it last until we get back to the car. So we're skirting around the side of Castlebank Park. I reckon that's almost certainly going to be another fabulous day out if you decided you want to come up and spend some time doing this walk. Pop in, have a look at Castlebank Park as well. It looks really well kept, so we're officially back on the Clyde walkway. We're seeing the signs for it. New Lanark, Castlebank Park. There we go. So we're now heading back downhill, back towards the river, which should take us back into New Lanark. So once you leave Castlebank Park, you're heading pretty steep down towards the river. Just follow the steps and you're going to zigzag backwards and forwards until you get back and down to the riverside again, which we're just starting to get glimpses of through the trees down there. Oh, there's Ryan taking a sneaky wee. You could have been over the edge there. But yeah, there's plenty of zigzags to take us back down to the bottom of here, I think. Well, that's us. We're now heading back down into New Lanark. Now, on the Walk Highlands website, it does say that this walk is 6.2 miles, and already currently, we're not back to the car yet, we're on 7.4. So, yeah, factor that into your day if you've only got a certain amount of time to do it. But yeah, this has been a good wee walk, and we're nearly back at the car. So I'm going to finish the vlog for today here. This has been the Falls of Clyde circular route. It's £3.50 to park in the car park for the full day. That gives you 24 hours. And you're coming down through the New Lanark World Heritage Site. Now, on my watch it says 7.6 miles. So Walk Highland said 6.2, which wasn't quite accurate, but 7.6 seems to be closer to the mark. Anyway, that has been the Falls of Clyde circular walk. If you fancy it, come and give it a go. You start in New Lanark, and this has been Redman Walking. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed today's video, and all that remains for me to say is go and create your own adventures, and we'll see you on the next one.